It's True Crime Tuesday. I can only do politics for so long, Diego. And, well, speaking of killers, that's why we're here today.
In a McDonald's office with a naked woman.
To make this happen.
I love these small town cops.
Anymore. I don't see him anymore. It wasn't him. It was black. I've never been so scared in my life.
There were a lot of angry faces. This is the Amber Heard part of this documentary.
You've ever heard of Delilah or Jezebel, who fabricated evidence against Naboth because she wanted his vineyard? Women do lie. I want evidence. I believe evidence. I don't believe all women.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the program, everybody. I'm Megan Fox, and I'm here with CrimeLaw.net Steve Gosney, attorney extraordinaire. He is one of the best defense attorneys I know.
Oh,
I don't,
or at least the only one you know.
No, you're not the only one I know. Actually, I know
okay.
quite a few defense attorneys, and I know a lot of attorneys, and you're one of my favorites, Steve. So, and especially because you're always available when I ask you to come.
Yes, that's right.
Which is so great. I wasn't planning on being back online today, but there is breaking news, and we got to go over it because this is nuts. So there's breaking news on two different stories that I'm covering, Steve. I'm covering the Ana Walshe disappearance, and now there's been an arrest for murder in that case. Her husband has been arrested for murder. His Google searches have been revealed, and OMG, if he did search these things, it's pretty good circumstantial evidence. I think you'll agree. And then we have the Brian Kohberger warrant. The warrant that was
return of service.
Return of thank you.
Right.
Yeah. So
okay. Well, let's do it. I'm ready.
Which one do you want to start with? I don't know which one to start with.
Oh, I don't know. But first of all, thank you for letting me on. It's my fault. Yes, I still have not found my K-bar knife, so it's possible. I don't know. It's around somewhere, but. The Kohberger, I'm ready to go on the one of the Secret Service.
Ana Walshe. Okay, why don't we start there?
Secret Service
because
one?
that won't actually take us too long, actually. So you guys know I've been covering. I have been covering the Ana Walshe disappearance. Ana Walshe was a mother of three who disappeared. And her husband was arrested for lying to police, much like Casey Anthony. So he was under arrest and been sitting in jail for the past few days for lying to them about where he went. He was wearing an ankle monitor, so they knew where he went. It was so dumb that he lied to them about where he went, Steve. He was wearing an ankle monitor. But he lied about some things. They caught him at the Home Depot. He bought $400 and some worth of cleaning supplies, tarps, just unusual things that you would not normally buy. And here I'm thinking, this is an open shut case, no problem. And then I come to find out the New York Post prints this article about Ana Walshe being the building manager of the building that two weirdos who were impersonating federal officers were indicted and arrested for, and they lived in her building with 5 penthouses rent-free for 2 years while impersonating police officers and Department of Homeland Security agents and Secret Service and like paying off. I don't know what they were doing, but they were indicted. They were one of them was convicted of something and is awaiting a sentencing. But of course, we've not heard anything about that trial. And so it was weird to me. And I asked Steve last minute to say, Steve, watch the last hour of my True Crime Tuesday from this week and tell me what you think about this. Because just tell me, Steve, what did you think about that last hour, what you heard?
Well, I will tell you, since you asked. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, first of all, I know what you're getting at, young lady.
Well, if you're the defense attorney and you find this out, like he's your client, okay?
Right.
This guy's your client. You find out, though, that she's connected to possibly several, like a bunch of, not only the guys who were arrested in that apartment, but there were 4 Secret Service agents in that apartment who worked directly for the White House that were in that building, that were involved in this, that are angry with her. They're all angry with her. The whole building is angry with her. We've just now increased all the people who might want her to disappear. I don't know.
All right. Well, let's address the assuming that the evidence that they say actually exists and is actually trustworthy. All right, then it's a very difficult case for him. All right, so that is a murder case on him, right? Now so what we're talking about though is the defense of being we are suspicious of the surrounding circumstances. There's a lot of nefarious cloak and dagger types that surround this woman and surround the
Yes.
situation. Therefore, we have to distrust much of the government in which we would normally rely. Now, I will say, first of all, I hate to be in the position as a citizen of this country that I have to be so distrustful
Oh, me
of our
too.
government. But I will say they have earned every bit of distrust.
They
Okay.
have.
This is why this January 6th prosecution, this Hunter Biden laptop cover up, this collusion with the media and the Twitter and the Google and the Facebook and the censorship and the FBI out of control and the Trump setup and all of this stuff that is nuts, that is basically the government being weaponized against us, the people,
Yep.
has completely destroyed our trust in our government. Now it's like, where does this impact? The impact is in this type of thing,
That's
because
right.
it's like now I'm like, okay, so my thought is, all right, let's assume I represent the defense guy and I
Yeah.
want to go with the theory that there are these nefarious types out there that we're out to get them. And it has to do with the feds and CIA and FBI and cover up.
Literally
Well,
CIA. Yeah, literally
literally.
Secret
Okay.
Service,
So
FBI, Department
it's
of Homeland
all
Security. They're all involved in
nebulous
this.
deep states that we cannot trust.
Yeah.
Can you then trust the prosecutor's release? Why is he releasing this evidence saying he did these searches on his notebook? Is that the type of evidence that could be planted? Why, yes,
Well,
it is.
that's what I want to ask. How easy is it, Steve, to plant if you have access to, let's say, the kind of technology that the NSA has or the FBI has or DHS has? How easy is it to fake somebody's Google search results?
Well, I mean, I'm no expert on this type of technology, but I can tell you that if you have the access to that kind of technology, it's easy as hell. All right. So,
Yeah.
all right. So if these people are experts at this kind of skullduggery, then they can plan. Now, so let's kind of go with the conspiracy theory. And it's sad that we have to do this. I mean, I'm really disgusted as an American citizen that I have to think this way. All right. Now, as a defense attorney, hey, it's my bread and butter. All right.
But look at this, Steve. Here's the kind of thing. If I'm the defense attorney, I'm going to pull up and I'm going to show to a jury. I'm going to say, look at this. Just in 2017, the FBI had to dismiss a child porn prosecution after refusing to hand over details on its hacking tool. I read this article a while ago and I was like, they literally planted evidence on somebody's computer. And when the defense asked for all their information, they refused to turn it over. Case dismissed.
Oh, this stuff scares me to death. You don't have any clue. The cases that I've reviewed, these child porn cases, are very scary because, I mean, your computer's got such a huge drive. I don't know what's going on there.
I don't know what's going on my computer. Me either.
Who wasn't the reporter that was talking about, like, she was seeing the
Cheryl, what's her name?
Yeah, and the computer is sitting there moving around, and she's not even accessing it.
They hacked her computer.
They hacked her in the NSA. So what about also all of a sudden they plant child porn on her computer,
and then they come in? It's not just possible, Steve. They've been caught doing it. Look at this. Look at this article right here. The FBI is developing quite the reputation for dropping prosecutions to the face of challenges of its secret tools and techniques. Now, the NDAs it hands out to every law enforcement agency seeking to purchase stingrays not only tells them to obscure the device's use, but to let suspects walk if it seems some of this info might make its way into the courtroom. What?
Well, yeah. Okay. So there's a lot here. I mean, and the thing is that, I'd be a really good criminal, you know that, because I know so much of this police technique stuff. All right. But let's just go through I'm the defense attorney, and my defense is it's a grand federal conspiracy with all the nefarious agents. And really, I don't have to prove it. I just have to show that there is a reasonable doubt as to guilt. All right. Well, there's a lot of evidence here. First of all, I'm also a fan of Occam's razor,
Hmm.
and that is that the simple,
The
oh,
simplest answer. Me
legal
too.
vices, high
Me
legal
too.
vices,
Hey Jeff, how are you? Thanks for the
and
super chat.
the low hanging fruit here is that the husband did it, right?
Yes.
And that assume that well, the searches are really damning, but let's assume the FBI could plant that. But what about him going and buying $450 worth of
Okay.
cleaning
All right. I have an
supplies?
answer for that. I have an
All right,
answer for that.
all right,
What if? So he's on an ankle monitor for some kind of art fraud,
right.
federal charge. And we know that the FBI constantly turns people who are, indicted for something to work for them in some way. What if Anna Walsh got herself into some kind of trouble with those dudes at that building or other people in that building? I don't know. And for whatever reason, she needed to disappear and he's already on their payroll and they put the squeeze on him and they make him do it. I don't know. They help him. Where's the body,
Well,
Steve?
okay,
Where's
well,
the body?
all right, slow
That's
down,
my
slow
crazy
down.
conspiracy.
I
I'm saying
understand. I'm
his
with you.
answer is he did it by himself, but we still don't have a body and the guy had a ankle bracelet on. So
Well, see that's something they will be able to track him, and they're saying that he disposed of the body, chopped her up, and threw her into a bin, and it got incinerated. All right, and you don't need a body to prosecute. There's case law on this. Okay, so there is something called the corpus delicti involving this, and corpus delicti talks about law of there has to be a body without a body. He actually supposedly searched for that particular item of news. But if somebody if leaves mysteriously and all their personal effects are around and they just disappear, there is precedent for prosecuting somebody for murder, even though the body doesn't exist. Now, there's evidently blood on. Well,
bloody
there
knife.
may be blood on the wooden floor, and he searched for blood on the floor. There's a
Okay.
lot.
Well, let's look at what he searched
Yeah,
for.
there's a whole. There's a whole. Let's just. I mean,
But
I almost
okay,
want.
when I first heard though that he searched for how to dismember and hide a 115-pound woman, I thought that's awfully specific.
Yeah, right.
Like who does that? What kind of person doesn't go to a public library and search for that kind of crap anonymously? Because they'll hide that shit over there all day long. A public library.
Well, see, I think okay. What could be easily faked by an extremely sophisticated NSA? Well, search results on Google. Number one.
Certainly.
Okay, so that's one. Theoretically, ankle monitor tracking, cell phone tracking. But now, what about him buying cleaning supplies? If he's going to Home Depot and buying $450,
I know it's crazy. He did it. He did it.
If there's blood on the floor, if they recover, there's blood, and blood is. I mean, if you kill somebody and like with knives and stuff, very difficult to clean up blood. I mean,
Yeah.
blood is crazy. They'll find particulates all over. Cleaning that stuff is almost impossible, no matter how
So
much.
Stephanie says it's awfully stupid. Yeah, it is. And Joe Raffa, who is the retired homicide detective who I have on the show all the time, just told us the other day that law enforcement's job is usually much easier because criminals are generally very stupid. That's what he told me. He said
and
in his
they're
experience,
more
they're dumb.
stupid than the law enforcement agencies. Let's
More
put it that way.
stupid than law enforcement. Yes.
Which
Yes,
is
yes,
which is good for us theoretically because we want the law enforcement to be
Yes.
smarter than the average criminal, which is good. Though I say that it doesn't mean that they're that brilliant. It's just you have to be like faster than the next guy, right? So, but what is the evidence against this
Okay.
guy that is
What's the evidence?
that is harder and harder to falsify? I would say blood on his apartment floor.
Hmm.
That would be
If
very.
they find that. We don't know if they found that yet.
I thought
Uh,
that they had.
They found a bloody knife. Actually, well, let's go through what they found. Is that he bought $450 worth of cleaning supplies when he lied to the police and said he was somewhere else. He said he was at Whole Foods, but he was at the Home Depot buying a Tyvek suit with boot covers, mops, buckets, goggles, baking soda, tape, a hatchet, and more, all while wearing a face mask and rubber gloves in the store.
And it's security footage.
Yes.
And there would be credit card records. And so you will be able
Yes.
to tie him in. So you'll see him in disguise buying that is very difficult information for the defense because you could
Yeah.
allege that you're falsifying, the computer records. And that sucks because that's good evidence. But now I have to be suspicious of my federal government,
Yeah.
So
I know, but they're so untrustworthy that it's not crazy for me to speculate that, oh my God, why are the feds all over this? Why? So they said that he searched on his son's iPad starting at 4:55 a.m. on January 1st, an hour before Ana Walshe allegedly left for the airport with the search, how long before a body starts to smell? I mean, really, how dumb this guy's going to go if he did this?
happens all the time.
He goes down as the worst criminal
No,
on the planet.
No, it happens all the time. Happens
Those
all the time.
were quickly.
Well, we haven't gotten to what's going on, in the Idaho insect yet, but
Moscow maggot. Yes, we're going to get to him in a minute.
But the thing is that people, it's an intense thing. People make this kind of mistake all the time. They're not thinking about this stuff. I mean, like I said, the amount of stuff I know about legal, what do you call it? Law enforcement investigative techniques is frightening. But being able to get away with a murder like this, very difficult. And I would say that, why would you think that he's not so dumb as to make these searches? I'm going to do it.
I don't know.
Because
has he never watched a CSI show? He's never watched a cop show.
But see, here's what they think, though. It's like, okay, I've got this problem. The internet has the answer. So what I'll do is I won't search with my phone. I'll go to my 10-year-old's phone and search with him. Oh, you say that, but like people on the jail calls, man, you know
what I would do? I would go to the public library because they delete all of those searches and you don't even have to give them your name to get on a computer. That's how, and you can search anything you want. And every night they wipe the servers clean.
Except that you got to get to the public library. You got to know about that. You got kids to deal with. Yeah. So and so I'm going to do it. I mean, we have people in the jail calls all the time. They go on their buddy's jail call using a different PIN number. And they're like, ha, 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 they'll never catch me.
Yeah, don't these criminals know about the Orland Park Public Library? If you're a criminal, you can get away with anything at that library. Absolutely anything. I mean, I wrote all about it in my book, Shut Up. Go buy it and find out. If you want to commit a crime, Orland Park Public Library is the place to go. They will not stop you.
You got great chat. Look, you got Fiery Red is in there. Flux is in there. You got Vices. Stephanie Kimbrell, that's your sister, right?
That's my sister. She's agreeing with me. She says, why can't they find a body if he was on an ankle monitor the whole time?
Well, supposedly they tracked him. He chopped her up, threw into a dumpster. The dumpster was collected and sent to the incinerator. So
maybe. Stephanie also said, and I agree with this, I've decided since 2016 that the FBI is completely untrustworthy. Totally. If I ever get called for federal jury duty, I will tell the judge that I will disbelieve everything the FBI agents say. Everything. I would too. I think they've given us reason to have those feelings. Okay, here's the rest of the searches that they found on the Google, on the Google. The Googles on the internets. Those were quickly followed up with how to stop a body from decomposing, Balin said, and how to embalm a body. At that one, the wide-eyed but otherwise stoic face of Brian Walsh showed some emotion, incredulity, as his head began to slowly shake. And I have this video. I'll play it for you in a second. Other searches followed, and Balin read them off with their timestamps. 10 ways to dispose of a body if you really need to. If you really need to. What kind of a search is this?
Remember what was the song 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover? Remember that
song? 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. Yes, it's a good one.
Get on
the bus, Gus.
Need to discuss much.
What is it? Leave the key, Lee.
Can you set yourself free? That was a great song. Well,
great song.
And I tell you, I mean, that problem is the feds have earned every bit of distrust. And going at these things with a complete skepticism is true. And I'm looking conspiracies all over. However, we also have to be real and say that the obvious choice here is that the husband did it. And that there are, so I'm looking at what is the hard, non-electronic, difficult to fake evidence against him. So that if I was a sneaky defense attorney, and I wanted to present the feds did it defense, or there's reasonable doubt, which there would be if it's all this electronic stuff. That would be reasonable doubt, right? Because I'm like,
Yeah.
well, the feds are planning it. She's got all these motives, and there's nothing else. So, but that's why the shopping
The shopping
trip
video. Yeah.
and the physical evidence is going to be difficult. So I don't know. I mean, I'm
Here's
just
another search. Can you throw away body parts?
well, but see, what if all of I don't believe, like I said, if I want to look to the other evidence first.
How long does DNA last? What does formaldehyde do? Can identification be
See,
made
that
on
one-
partial
that one-
remains?
That one is strange because what does formaldehyde do? Like, does he have a box of formaldehyde? Why is he searching for
Because
formaldehyde?
he searched, apparently he searched how to embalm a body. And I think most people's layman, knowledge of that is formaldehyde. So that's connected to the embalming. I mean, I think he was going to try and embalm her, maybe. I don't know.
Or maybe he found the formaldehyde in one of his searches and he's like, oh,
Maybe.
that sounds good.
Yeah. Dismemberment and the best ways to dispose of a body. I want to know who's writing these articles, by the way. Hilarious. How to clean blood from a wooden floor. I think that's where the wood floor came from. Was from his searches.
But see, but that's
Luminol.
that's a pretty good clue, right? A pretty
Yeah.
good clue for law enforcement. Where do you search
Check
for
the
blood?
floor. Mhm.
Yeah.
Luminol to detect blood. Ugh.
Yeah.
What happens when you put body parts in ammonia? Is it better to throw crime scene clothes away or wash them? Oh my Lord. Among those, early on at 6:25 a.m., Brian Walsh allegedly searches how long for someone to be missing to inherit. Wow.
I've never seen anything quite as extensive and specific as this guy's doing.
This is what I'm saying. It's
But
like,
and if I was a FBI fraudster, this might be exactly what I'd want to put on it.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So
Like, let's make it so airtight that that jury is just going to look at this and go, oh yeah, put him away for life.
yeah, and this is connected to the DC spy case because those people were tenants in this building, and the woman was the manager of the building where these people were living for rent free for like
Went free for
2
2
years.
years. Rent free for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
obviously there's some kind of foreign intelligence scam or
Oh,
maybe
or they-
government connected scam.
Oh, but according to the judge, the prosecutor has no evidence of that. So he just let them go.
I don't believe any of that. But
I don't believe it either.
but the question is, did the husband kill the wife? That's where we have to look to the evidence. Now, the other stuff, who knows what's going on? I have no clue. It's bizarre.
So it says here, on January 3rd, prosecutors allege, again using the data on his phone, tracked Brian Walsh to an apartment complex in Abington where surveillance video then showed his Volvo and a man matching his description parked near a dumpster where he brings a garbage bag that appears to be heavy as he hefts it into the but I think they meant lifts it into the dumpster or heaves it into the dumpster. Police were not able to recover any of the bags disposed of in Abington. And that's where you're saying, Steve, that they could have gone into the incinerator.
Right. Police were not able to recover the bags. However, during the high-profile search of the station, were able to recover 10 trash bags. Among those contained bags, towels, rags, slippers, tape.
Oh, wow.
Packs on. See, now, if that's true, there would have to be DNA on those items.
Yeah, there would have to be.
Yeah, and so again,
Ooh,
this
also recovered in the trash bags in Peabody was a COVID-19 vaccine card in the name of Ana Walshe.
well, even that's pretty good. Even without DNA, now you have a connection back. So, and you've got him tracking to the place.
It confirmed the DNA from both Brian and Ana Walshe. Oh, testing from the state crime lab on the items recovered confirmed the DNA from both Brian and Ana.
That's pretty good. But how quick was it? January 3rd? How do they get DNA back that fast?
Again, good question, Steve. How did they get it back that fast? We watched the Idaho case and how long it took it took over a month. It took more than a month to get DNA results back. But yet it took, what day is it today? The 18th?
18th. So
It
it was
came back
recovered on the
before-
10th. It's a week turnaround. It's
That's
possible.
pretty fast.
But I'm telling you, that's high priority right there, man. I've never
Very
seen
high
a DNA
priority.
result come around that fast. Let's see.
How fast do they normally come back, Steve? How long?
Well, usually it's 2 months, But you can expedite, and I will say that that's just because of crime lab backup, all right? And so what usually, and I haven't had to have it that fast. Usually when you demand, when I was a prosecutor, what would happen is the defense would demand speedy trial, and your DNA results wouldn't be back yet. So what you'd do is you'd immediately send to the crime lab, you'd expedite it, and they would get it to you before the trial was scheduled. So, and that's usually like 2 or 3 weeks before your trial scheduled, and I'd get it before the trial would come out. So
Mm-hmm.
so they couldn't trick me, they the defense couldn't beat me with speedy trial. So I'm no expert on how quick they can do it, but there is some time involved, because the way I understand is, depending on your DNA sample, they need to replicate that DNA, and that takes a certain time. There's just typically if it's starting to turn what?
Turn against the state.
Oh, you kidding? Who said I was for it?
This is true. I mean, you guys, I know the evidence seems overwhelming, but it's almost like, is it too overwhelming?
No.
You don't think so?
No, it's the
If
problem
it
is
were, we would never find out.
it
We
sucks.
would never find out. We would never know. This
Because
guy's going to jail forever, whether he did it
I
or
know.
not.
Hey, Corn Pope's in there. Is Corn Pope one too? I don't know. I think this is pretty obvious, low-hanging fruit, but the question is, is there such a defense that we can weave? And the answer is yes, because of the suspicion the FBI and the feds have brought on themselves by all this nefarious, dirty work that they're doing.
If I were the defense attorney for this, I would spin such a conspiracy, you wouldn't believe it. I would be saying that these people are black helicopter kind of, that they did it, that they disposed of the body, and that's why you never found it. This is a deep state plot. This man has been railroaded.
If my client would allow it, it would be tremendously fun to try a case with that defense, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it?
I'd be all over
my mind is
that.
already spinning. I'm already
I'd be ready.
What do we come up with
If it doesn't fit, you must have quit.
If it does not fit, you must have quit. I mean, look, Brian Walsh seems like a real douchebag, but I'm telling you that this case for the right defense attorney might be something to watch. Yeah, this was a very weird thing. Thank you for pointing that out, PD. Walsh claiming to tenants on one occasion that she wasn't Ana Walshe in an apparent effort to duck their questions following the April 6th FBI raid that busted Ali into Herzada. That was a very weird part of that story to me. Like the building tenants were so upset with her that she was literally denying that she was who she is.
There's questions here. Okay, let's separate out our questions. All right, the question of who killed the wife is independent of, was there something else nefarious going on around here? Okay,
but a good defense attorney is just going to mash them all up.
Well, I get it. That's the Chewbacca defense, right?
They
Which
also
I would
found a K-bar knife. Thoughts, Steve? No, they didn't.
Well,
really. He's joking.
I must say. It's good though. I like it. I better damn well find that knife, or I'm going to get blamed for every K-bar killing in the world.
Forever.
That knife is going to circulate around the world, killing people independently of me.
Stephanie, let's hope there's a safe deposit box of hers somewhere with her video explaining everything she knew about the feds. Let's hope. Let's hope. Corn Pope, did you guys know he did all this with an ankle monitor? Yes, which is why I've been saying from the beginning, my God, what it really does beg the question, where is the body? I mean, although if he did throw it out and it went to, but how could, if he put, didn't it say one bag? He put, how many bags did he put in the thing? Let's go
10
back
bags.
He put
10 bags. 10 bags. Well, 10 bags were
no, they recovered 10 trash bags.
I mean, you can chop up somebody.
Wait a minute.
That's the whole point.
Hold on. The video showed his Volvo and a man matching his description parked near a dumpster where he brings a garbage bag that appears to be heavy and hefts it into the dumpster. A garbage bag. One. They were not able to recover, and then they say they were not able to recover any of the bags disposed of in Abington, but they somehow said only one garbage bag. Then they find 10 in the trash. Okay, I don't know. But I'm thinking if they even found the 10, wouldn't the bags with the body in it be near those? Because they were dumped at the same time. Or maybe they weren't. Maybe he went to different trash cans. I don't know.
I don't know. This is all questions, but the defense attorney is going to get on top of this. Hopefully, I'll tell you. There's a whole range of quality of defense, and ultimately, how suspicious is the defense attorney going to be? What's the client going to say? Because the client's going to dictate the defense. If the client wants to go all conspiracy, I mean, that would be fun, and I'd be all for it, right? I mean, you represent the client, and that's what he wants to do. I'd be like, yeah,
fantastic.
baby, let's go. But it's ultimately you can't do it if the defendant doesn't give
Sure.
it to you.
Stephanie says it makes you wonder what the purpose of an ankle monitor is. Are you supposed to be running around in the wee hours disposing of bodies while wearing an ankle monitor? No, I don't think so.
I have had murder cases with people doing the murders with their ankle monitors on. So they yes, I had a case where a guy had an ankle monitor, and the ankle monitor tracked to the victim's home. It was actually they killed a witness in another trial.
Ooh.
And his ankle monitor tracked him right to the home.
Oh my gosh.
So
Loose and Tile, that's a very good point. I think you should avoid the disposing of bodies with or without the ankle monitor.
That's always a good one, yes.
Yes. Okay, so let's watch the video. I have the video of him in court, and the reason why I didn't start with that is because the audio is not great, but I just read to you what was said. So if you can't hear what is being said perfectly, that's what we just read, okay, about all the different searches. But I'm going to show you the video so you can see his face, because they do talk about him starting to laugh or shake his head. Yeah. Sorry, not laugh.
Yeah, Stephanie asked, that case actually changed policy in a certain jurisdiction over releasing people with ankle monitors.
Yeah, it should. It should, because that's crazy. All right, let's watch this. I'm going to try and pump up the volume.
How we found the body.
It's like they record with a potato.
On January 1st, defendant.
This woman talks with marbles in her mouth. Okay, it's just terrible. But let's try to listen.
Defendant Googled using his son's iPad. Some of his searches are as follows. Keep in mind that the defendant said he left at 6 a.m. At 4:55 a.m. on January 1st, he searched how long before a body starts to smell. At 4:58 a.m., how to stop a body from decomposing. At 5:20 a.m., he searched how to unbound a body. At 5:47 a.m.,
okay, so that was painful for my ears, but
this is just nothing. Nothing can be read or
no
presumed from this kind of thing. This is basically his first appearance, right? So he's arrested, his first appearance. So
well, technically second, because he was arrested first for lying to police, but this is his first appearance for the murder arrest.
They arrest him for that to get him into custody, so that then they can question him on the murder, and then they charge him with the murder. So yeah.
Thanks, K-Jab. Appreciate that. And that body content. Thanks for the super chat. Says, watching Brian Walsh die inside slowly. According to the evidence that they've put forward so far, it looks like he's screwed probably. I just think that the surrounding circumstances are really weird. And I'm with you, Steve, that it is the FBI's fault. It is our law enforcement institution's fault, the federal law enforcement. It is their fault that we even have to say this. Maybe 15 years ago, it would never have even occurred to me to say that if the feds are involved, I don't believe anything that's being said.
Well, the whole Russiagate collusion thing destroyed any confidence I have.
January 6th? How about the kidnapping? How about the kidnapping, the alleged kidnapping of Governor Whitmer? How about that? Where six of the people were FBI informants, and two of the guys, and they set the two guys up. I mean, what?
But the entire Trump collusion narrative was a FBI generated lie, and it destroyed our country for 2.5 years.
It did.
So it's like
it led to two false impeachments.
Two false impeachments. It's like there was zero Russian collusion. That was a lie. And yet all the media lied to us. all the feds, the FBI, the CIA, all these agencies lied to
Mhm.
destroy a president that half the country supported.
How about Hunter's laptop? Now
That was
we've got
suppressed.
FBI out saying they knew that it was real. Sharon, thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. She says this is just great content, and thanks for all the squats, Megan. Well, we have been doing an awful lot of squats during my programming,
She
Steve.
says, who says it'll private chat? She says, too many funny comments to flag.
I know.
Well,
There have been.
look, we got the killer, man. You got the killer people in your chat, all your best person.
I know. My chat is great.
Hey,
My
by the way,
chat's the best chat.
can I reveal now that you all have been bought into the Gosney narrative? Can I do the big reveal?
Yeah, do it.
Okay, here it is. Look here.
He's wearing a Secret Service shirt.
We're all in on it, baby. Believe me, trust me, trust me.
Russian collusion narrative was what did it for me, those liars. Megan, share our Comey video with Steve. If I can find it, I will. That was a long time ago.
Comey, what a smug jerk.
Smug.
And this FBI, Louis Freeh, the FBI director, went to Davos, went to the big thing. Why the hell is our FBI director in Davos, Switzerland, talking with all these world government people?
Who knows? Who knows what they're doing? Who knows?
I don't trust any of them. It should all be melted down to this scrap, as far as I'm concerned, and start over. I mean,
Stephanie, I honestly don't know where it is. So if you can find it, send it to me. I'll play it. But I really don't know where it is. That was years ago. But yeah, it's crazy. That I feel offended that I don't trust these people. I mean, I feel offended. They have offended
for my country
me
because I'm a patriot.
for my country.
I
Yeah.
love my country. I want, and this corruption has been, it's infected our institutions and our people, our Congress and our elected government. But see, I don't know. And if they've corrupted the election mechanisms, notice how Florida, we had our election results by the end of the
Steve,
night.
sorry. No. Our elections are the most secure.
Yes,
and
they are
have
the
never
most secure in the faith. I agree.
The most secure. We have never had
all
any
elections
election
are
fraud.
fair and very free. Okay.
All elections in the United States are perfectly fine. There's nothing to see here.
There's nothing to see. I agree.
I mean, we can't even say it. You can't even suggest that you might think there might have been something because there wasn't.
Why don't we just, no, there wasn't. But if there was, the rest of the country should adopt, like when we had the whole Bush v. Gore destruction, right? We had a, we had
Thank you, Jeff.
Too. And he's given yen. What is that, like 2 cents?
I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't know. I don't even know how much it is.
What the hell is a W with crosses through it?
I don't know. But I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, it's something.
The NFL took my 3 cents from my stream the other day, so I could use a few yen. Just whatever.
I don't know. What was I saying? I lost track on it.
Jeff.
Oh, well, after the Bush v. Gore thing, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
The Bush v. Gore thing.
Oh, and Gore's allowed to say it was stolen all day long.
Okay,
hanging chads.
And we fixed because our system was old and antiquated. And what we do is we have a black marker pen, and we mark on the little ballot, and then this machine scans it through, and there's a big pile of ballots. So then if you don't trust the machines and you want a hand recount, you could go back and grab the ballots with all the little things on it and count them. Now there's controls over how many ballots are out, and that goes to the precinct. So there's an accounting system in that you can double check by hand counting. It's brilliant. And those machines counted, the results are in, and no problems. I mean, it's like, why don't we why create systems that are untrustworthy? Isn't it in everybody's interest, including those on the left and the liberal side and the Democrats, if you're supporting our constitutional republic, to have a system that is so strong and impervious to fraud that we can then trust it? But by diminishing trust in our institutions, they are seeking to destroy the country. And that's what I think that's going on.
It's terrible.
Everything is an attack on America, trying to bring down the system we have and our free republic that we have.
Think about it. Can you name one institution that has not been co-opted by these people? Can you is there one? They've got libraries. They've got they've definitely got the post office. Those MFers can't even deliver anything on time. I've had boxes lost forever, and I feel like they do it to me on purpose. The feds, we know that the FBI. How about the Bureau of Alcohol and Tobacco? I mean, go back to Ruby Ridge. They're literally shooting mothers in the head holding a baby. Shoots mom in head because a guy has a sawed-off shotgun. This
I know
is
one. Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. They're not a government institution. I'm
Oh, well,
talking about
okay.
government institutions. Government institutions. The Bureau of the Land, what is that? Land Management. My God, the Bundy Ranch incident. We've got, who did the Waco thing? That was Janet Reno, the Department of Justice. We have the Department of Justice is totally cucked. The Department of Homeland Security, totally cucked. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to turn to. The Department of Education, completely overtaken.
Well, you know, what is it? Robert Conquest's 3 laws. I think it's the second law that says that that any institution that's not explicitly right wing will turn left wing over time.
Oh yeah.
And I thoroughly believe that. And I've been doing a lot of thinking, and this is an article and a research project that I've been thinking about for quite a long time. And that is, what is the mechanism for leftist control and leftist takeover of institutions? And I really feel that what happens is independent thinkers and Republicans and conservatives who are by the rule people, who are reliable people, who are Johnny Lunchbucket, go to work very hard. They get confronted by mob mentalities and what would it be, slanderous takedowns, and they basically say, I don't need this crap, and they resign and they quit and they go do something else that they can get paid for, and they avoid the conflict by leaving and going elsewhere, right? And then what happens, that leaves the husk of the institution in control of the most vicious mob
Yep.
types, which are the leftists.
And they're the true believers that get, and they do that on purpose.
And then
by the
they
way.
use the institution as a skin suit and a puppet in which to
Yep.
promote their leftist things, rather than the purpose of the organization, which was originally, like, for example, what would it be, like Southern Poverty Law Center, that used to have a good mission and now has been completely co-opted as a anti-right wing kind of conspiratorial thing. So, because it becomes this sock puppet. The ACLU is another example that used to be very good. ACLU used to defend everybody, right?
Oh, they used to be amazing. They defended the KKK. They defended the KKK's right to march in Skokie, Illinois, through a Jewish
when
community.
the KKK took my baby away.
What?
See, but you don't get that reference?
No.
KKK took my baby away.
You're going to get us taken down off YouTube, Steve. Shut up with your
Hey,
KKK songs.
Ask Valhalla awaits. You tell him in the she's in the audience. I got more strikes on their stream. How many copyright strikes did I get?
Well, I'm going for for some kind of record myself. I got one from Miss Universe, and I got 2 from the NFL just this week. So that's 3 in a week.
Thinking about, actually, I play guitar on my Rumble channel. I'm thinking about doing like music for my Rumbler friends and just playing some cool background music. And I'll say, you can play it anytime you want, and there's no
that's
copyright.
awesome.
How
Would be a great idea. That would be really cool. I would use it. That body contest, thanks to the super chats, says, how dare you not read Jeff's chats out loud? Well, I thought I did. It could be the adrenaline. It could be the adrenaline, though, because I'm all hopped up on this.
Did you got Valhalla says? Valhalla says they got claims on me playing my own music because they're talking.
Gosh.
We were building Legos here, and we were playing Lego stream, and they're like, last time we went through all these bands that I love, and I was like, play this video, and we got like 20, 30, 40 strikes or whatever. And then so I said, well, why don't you play my videos? Because I've got my own music on my Rumble channel that I put up just for giggles. And it's my own music that I made in my own room and put up on the internet for myself. And Valhalla says he got strikes.
That's insane.
Yeah, KKK took my baby away. That's a Ramones song.
Oh, well, I know the Ramones, but not that well, I guess. All right, let's get to the Brian Kohberger thing.
All right, I haven't seen this. This is new. So you're
all right. So this is the arrest, not the arrest warrant. This is the, what do you call it? The warrant for the search warrant stuff. It's
called the return. It's the return.
Why don't I know these terms? The return.
Well, yeah.
What do you call it?
I think it's something like that. It's like the return. It's basically.
I called it the warrant doc. That's what I'm calling it. The warrant doc.
The warrant return. It's the motion in order to unseal warrant return. So this is after you do a warrant. They then execute the warrant. They come back and they say, here's what we've recovered, and they list it. And it has to be in conformity with the warrant.
Gotcha. All right. Stormcrow 900, thanks for the super chat, says, my own 2 cents. It isn't left versus right. It's Jefferson versus Hamiltonian. Individual freedom, liberty versus collective statism. Yep. It's always been that. It's always been that. Looking
Right.
at it that way, people on the right supporting institutions make sense. It's always been about collectivism versus liberty.
Yes.
Always. From the
Well,
beginning of human
that's what my next
time.
book's going to be, right? It's called, my next book's tentatively titled Prepare, a Handbook for Individual Freedom.
Ooh.
To teach individual
Sounds like an
citizens.
amazing book.
Oh, it's going to be great. It's really going to be my magnum opus. It's,
Oh, I love it.
my first one was on law. It's basically on my law articles. The second one is going to be kind of more like my life guidance about teaching people to be free, teaching people to think independently and become free citizens and to live a fulfilled life. So
I love it.
And I'm about 60% through. If my computer comes back, please come back. I didn't lose my book. My computer crashed. It's been at the shop for a week.
Oh, no. Oh,
I
that's
know.
terrible.
And I haven't been backing it up.
The Legal Basis says that body contest conspiracy defense. She reads chats about not reading my chats, but doesn't actually read my chats. Insert screaming goat meme here.
No, it's not a goat. It's not a goat.
What
it's
is
a
it?
sheep.
Are you sure?
I'll tell. I'm putting my money on sheep.
Well, I'm not from New Zealand, so I know nothing about sheep or goats. And if you really want to talk to someone, you need to ask Meme Copium, because apparently he's the sheep and goat expert. Apparently,
It's a sheep. I don't think it's a sheep. Yeah, Valhalla says it's a sheep, and he's a farmer guy. You know Valhalla Awaits?
I do. I'm supposed to go on that show when I get back from my vacation after next week. So
Yes,
I'll be making an appearance there.
The cute little baby goat videos. They're so cute.
So I wanted to ask you something about this document. So I think this is a good learning opportunity just for people to learn about what it's like when the government issues a search warrant, because I think people sometimes think, like, because of TV, the cops show up and they show you a warrant and they're just allowed to trash your house. They're just allowed to go through everything and look for and take anything they want. But that's not the case. You have to be very specific, right, Steve?
Theoretically.
Well, you have to be specific in the warrant about what you are looking for specifically. And if it's not on that list, are you allowed to take it?
Theoretically not.
What are you saying?
Do you think the one thing you need to learn is that the law is great in theory. What happens in practice is completely different. You know what they do is they get a warrant and they come and rip your house apart, and they say, okay, bye, and your house is ripped apart. Don't give consent to anything. Don't let them do anything. I mean, I'm disgusted by what they do. And they come in, we exceeded the scope of the warrant. Now you want to suppress that stuff? Ain't gonna happen. I mean, I hate to be cynical about it, but this is the way it is. The fact is that judges don't read. The cops know which judge to go to get the warrant signed. So they do the sloppy job on the front end. They get the judge to sign off on their sloppy work that doesn't have probable cause, but now you got a judge's signature on it, right? And judges do that. So now you're going to have the appellate court or the other trial judge say that this judge didn't review the warrant. Oh no, we're all good brethren. We're all good judges, and everything they seize is within the scope of the warrant. I mean, this warrant thing, I hate to be cynical about it, but I don't see it having real teeth. Unless you've got good judges who actually follow the law, who are actually reviewing it. But there's a chapter.
So are you saying that you've never been able to use in a defense, like, hey, they said on the warrant that they wanted A, B, and C. They took D and E, and that should be thrown out.
Okay. How do you say
Lucentile?
Lucentile. Yes. I have a whole chapter on this on my book. You see there, we got to grift the book.
Oh yeah, we'll grift the book. It's right here.
Okay, hold on. Let me get one. I gotta get one.
We'll grift it. What chapter am I turning to, Steve? Well, let's see. What are we looking at?
Yes, you've gotten there's a whole chapter here on the good faith.
Screaming goat or sheep. Bah! I had to read that out loud because Jeff is watching. So
Yeah, okay. They're on page 131
Let's
of
read together, shall we,
Let's read
folks?
together from the book 131. You can flip to
All
that
right.
page. If
Flip
we
to
get our
your
books,
get
chat.
your
I know
books out.
I've got a lot of people in the chat here who I know have my book. So
All right,
get your
everyone,
book
we're
out.
reading together. It's reading together time. Class, take out your books.
Okay, so this is reading time with Steve, right? No,
Yes.
well, I'll tell you generally what this is. All right.
Okay.
There's something called the good faith exception. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And so you think that, okay, well, the warrant is defective, right? And you'd
Yeah.
think that that would have some meaning. All right. So what do we have here? So then what happens? The cops go get the judge to sign off on the warrant. They go and they execute the warrant. But then you find, what do you know? There's no probable cause. This is all garbage. There was insufficient. They just mailed it in, and the judge just signed off on it like a drooling idiot. And then they seized all this stuff and they bring it in, and it's not in conformity with the warrant. But then they say, yes, but the people that seized the stuff were operating in good faith because they're good faith actors, right? They're good faith cops. So we're just going to have an exception to the warrant requirement saying that if the cops were operating in good faith, then it all comes in anyway. It's all
It's all
harmless, right?
fine. It's all fine. Yeah,
So
that's not okay.
that whole chapter is addressing this problem, because it's what happens is you get bad faith cops and you get a sloppy cops, you get a sloppy judge, and they wash each other's hands. So two wrongs
Mm,
make a right. It's like
no.
two negatives make a right, because it's like, well, the cops did it, but then the judge signs off on it. So who's operating wrong, right?
Both of them.
You would think.
Yeah.
So
But you can't do anything to the judge because judges have absolute immunity. So, there's if the
and
judge,
you can't do anything with the cops either.
the only way you could do anything with the judge is if the judge was not in a courtroom or not acting as a judge when he did the thing that he did. That's the only time you could get a judge, because otherwise he's completely covered,
Well,
which
and
is
I
the
actually,
worst
and see, this is
doctrine.
why I am for what they call an objective test. Okay, there's a couple things that
This is a great comment. I prefer sloppy beer to sloppy judges. Me too.
well, but here the
Um,
problem. Here's where I really my advocacy. I'm one. It's ideas and answers in law, right? It's not just
mhm.
ideas and problems. I try to propose solutions, and my solution to this is that there should, instead of this good faith exception that says, because what I mean, the cops, the the uh, the way that judges perceive this and prosecutors perceive it, they say, okay, I'm a defense attorney, I challenge the warrant. And then the prosecutor brings a cop to the stand and says, so cop, you executed the warrant. That looked like a good warrant to you, right? Were you operating in good faith? Why, yes, I was. And then the judge says, well, it's good enough for me. That's the way that it operates in the real world. Okay, and so my position on this is that it should be an objective proximity test. So basically, the closer that the agency is to the warrant, then the more suspect it should be. So if it's the same agent going and getting and executing the warrant, right? If it's close in proximity, then it should be more subject to challenge. The challenge should be up, because that's something that's directly measurable. Because the case that it actually comes out of is called I want to say it's Herring. See, now I gotta see, if I don't know, I look it up.
Hey, Janet, in the chat, you said you saw the items that they supposedly seized in the pictures, and you think they clearly show they took more than they claimed. Where are these pictures? I didn't
Yeah.
know there were pictures out there. Did you see pictures?
Okay, so I'm sorry. Do you want to hear this, or do you want
Yeah,
to go
yeah,
back?
yeah. Yeah, no, I do.
Well, I'll quickly. The Herring case, let's just give sort of a quick fact pattern. There's a cop up in Georgia, let's say, and there's a Florida warrant. Well, the Florida warrant is for the arrest of this guy. So he pulls somebody over. He searches the database, says the guy's got a felony warrant out of Florida. He checks it, it confirms, and then he arrests the guy. And then on him, they find drugs. Okay, that's the fact pattern. Well, then later on, it finds that it was a bureaucratic snafu in Florida, that the clerk never took the warrant out. It was an erroneous warrant in the system. It should have been deleted a month ago. So the arrest on the warrant was improper, right?
Yeah.
And so therefore you'd say, well, then that they should suppress the drugs that they found because it was an illegal stop, it was
Right.
an arrest,
Illegal
right?
search, illegal stop. Yeah.
Under Herring, they said no because the cop was operating in good faith reliance on the warrant.
Stop it.
No, no, this is Herring. All right. So it's an objective. So, but I'm saying, all right, fair enough. Fair enough, because we don't want to suppress the truth from the thing because the cop on the side of the road did nothing wrong.
Hmm.
All right. And the basis of the Herring decision was the reason for exclusion of evidence is called it's the exclusionary rule is for a deterrent effect on an agency. It's not to validate the rights of the individual. This is where people get confused. The reason for the exclusionary rule is not to validate your rights, is instead to punish the agency, to create a prophylactic effect from preventing agencies from
Right.
abusing their powers. All right.
Right.
And that is the logic of Herring. And they said in Herring, the Georgia police officer who was arresting there'd be no deterrent effect on him
Right.
because he
didn't do anything wrong.
he didn't do anything wrong. All right. Well, that's where the proximity test comes in, because a proximity test can be objectively measured. Because he was far away, then the good faith exception should apply. But when you've got it very close, when you have it the same officer creating the warrant problem as is the one executing the warrant, then the error is subject to the prophylactic effect, and therefore it should be suppression should be allowed. So I'm saying that under Herring, proximity is the operative factor. The closer the agency is to the warrant, the more subject to suppression it should be, and the good faith exception should not apply in those cases because prophylactic effect does occur. All right, so that's a
All
long,
right.
thoughtful idea on. But if you want
No,
to
it's
learn more,
interesting.
go to
It's super
crimelaw.net
interesting.
and pull up the chapter.
No, it's super interesting. And so this is what the warrant says. The warrant, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I've marked down pages that are kind of interesting. So search within 10 days of this date the premises described as follows. And they talk about his apartment, where it is. That the apartment building in Pullman, Washington is tan and white in color. Apartment G201 is located on the northeast corner of the second story of this building. And the door is white with a swinging screen door on the outside of the main door to the residence.
Okay, so this is basically, let me explain. What you've got is this is giving outlines of what they're looking for.
Right.
So the basis of the warrant is this is what they're looking for, and it's going to be everything. They're looking for blood, bodily fluids, knives, sheets, images. They're looking for.
Yeah, I found
computers,
this very
clothing.
interesting because I thought it was written well. I mean, I didn't see anything that I would have added that was left out, So it's a seize if located evidence of the above listed crimes, including blood or other bodily fluid or human tissue or skin cells or items with blood or other bodily fluid or human tissue or skin cells on the items. That could be a hell of a lot of things. That can pretty much be everything in the house.
Right. Yeah.
Skin cells, you're going to have skin cells on everything. They could just take all the furniture. 2, knives, sheaths, or other sharp tools, including any dagger, dirk, or sword, and any written indicia of ownership of same, including sales receipts. Any images, whether digital or on the paper or any other format, which show Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogen, or the other 2 roommates, BF and DM, and or the house at 1122 King Road in Musco, and or the surrounding neighborhood. Clothing, including but not limited to dark shirts, dark pants, masks, shoes with diamond patterned sole. 5, trace evidence, including DNA from blood or skin cells or other source, footprints, fingerprints, hair, whether human or animal or dog. Data compilations, whether digital, electronic, or on paper or other format, showing an interest in or planning of murder, violent assault, stabbing, and or cutting of people, and data compilations showing details of the house, its location, the murder house, and any other information about Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Madison Mogen, or the other 2 roommates, and data compilations. What was that, Steve?
No, I was just wondering what BF and DM were.
That's the other 2 surviving roommates, Bethany and Dylan. There were 2 surviving girls in the house.
Understood. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And data compilations showing the location of Brian Kohberger or the cell phone with his number. Ooh, they didn't redact it. On November 13th. It's not my fault. I didn't dox anybody. It's the cops. Including Wi-Fi logs and data or metadata associated with photos, social media posts, or applications on cell phones or computer towers, laptops, tablets. As example, but not intended to be exclusive list of data compilations being sought, ledgers, papers, lists, books, notes, letters, calendars, address books, contact lists, diaries, tapes, photographs, videos, emails, text messages, social media posts, messages, and metadata associated therewith. Whew, it was a long sentence. This is a long sentence. Electronic digital devices or digital storage devices which may contain any of the above data compilations, including cell phones, computer towers, laptops, tablets, external hard drives, CD, DVD, thumb drives, or other data storage devices. This includes any device which may contain evidence of other accounts associated with this device, including email addresses, social media accounts, messaging app accounts, and other accounts that may be accessed through the digital device that will aid in determining the possessor or user of the device. Photographs, images, videos, documents, related data, created, accessed, read, modified, received, stored, sent, moved, deleted, or otherwise manipulated. Ooh, they're going to get the deleted files.
Of course.
Evidence of the, well, yeah, because they're going to download everything. They're going to go to Google. Google's going to get this stuff off the server. Like it's nothing's gone, you guys. Nothing is ever deleted. So don't send naked pics of yourself is all I'm saying. Don't send them. Period. They're never deleted.
What was it? Did you ever see that there's a picture of, like, I think it was the NSA director or whatever, and he had a piece of tape over his camera on his work computer?
Mark Zuckerberg has
Yeah,
one.
if that doesn't say it a lot there, it's like, well, these guys are in the middle of the belly of the beast, and they're just,
I mean, it's terrible. But yeah, nothing's ever deleted, you guys. All right, so more evidence of digital stuff. So we'll just skip over that because it's all evidence of the use of a device to conduct internet searches relating to a review of other murders or violent assaults, stabbings, or cuttings of people, as well as how to avoid detection after the commission of such crimes. So they're going to be looking for the same kind of stuff that Brian Walsh was idiotically searching on Google.
theoretically.
Sorry,
Allegedly.
Allegedly searching on his son's iPad.
Or
Yes.
at least the FBI wants us to believe that he was searching.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the black hats want us to believe that.
Yes.
And we probably will. Information that can be used to calculate the position of the device between the above dates, including location data, GPS satellite data, GPS coordinates for routes and destination queries between the above listed dates, app data or usage information and related location information, IP logs, or similar internet connection information and images created, accessed, or modified between the above listed dates, together with their metadata and EXIF tags. And by the way, you guys, look at how many paragraphs I just read related to digital data. Like,
yeah, it's so important nowadays, you know.
We are completely surveilled, 100% surveilled.
Corncob, I'm gonna look. I'll look up and I'll check for you because I can't. Usually I can chat, but I'm on my wife's computer and I'm completely out of lunch here.
Oh no! What was the question?
Well, she didn't get her book yet, but she's international. But yeah, and the thing is that these digital devices, for the longest time, I didn't have a cell phone. I still really kind of don't. I mean, I'm very low tech when it comes to this stuff because now that I'm diving headfirst into technology, it's like everything starts connecting with everything else, and like, I mean, I've not had a cell phone for most of my career. Because it's like I've been in appeals for all this whole and I hate, cell phones, they stress me out. It's like you're always on call and it's like, something's going on.
Is that why you're not on Twitter? Because everyone's like, would you get Steve on Twitter, please? Like, why are you not on Twitter? I was trying to tag you today. I can't find it.
No, I don't want to do any of that stuff. I want to do as little as humanly possible. I don't want to be involved in any of this stuff.
Daisy Nimbus, God bless you. Daisy says you can help support this channel by sending some love money so Megan Fox can repair all the things that she blows up. This is a real problem. It's a real thing. I blew up my stove. It cost me like $1,000, and that sucks because I could use that money to feed my kids. But thank you for that, Daisy. And also, if you're on YouTube right now and you haven't hit that like button, I'm going to assume your thumbs are broken because there is no other excuse for you to not hit that like button. Just smash it now. Smash it the way Amber Heard smashes everyone she comes in contact with.
Have you seen Vice's, the way he asks now in his question, he puts a little poll up. It's hilarious.
Yes,
each choice is a joke. It's brilliant.
I've seen that. Yes, hilarious. I voted in the last one. Fire Pixie, thanks for the super chat.
Your sister doesn't know about your stove?
My sister doesn't know about my stove? Oh my God, I didn't tell you? Well, it didn't blow up. I burned water. Is that possible? Yes, because I ruined my stove by leaving the kettle on and walking away from the stove. I thought I had turned it off. And then I went upstairs and I got on a live stream. I was actually interviewing someone, and it burned the ceramic tea kettle, and it cracked the entire stove in half, and it almost set my house on fire. Luckily, Mr. Fox was home and he came running up the stairs to stop it. And then he was very upset with me. I had to get off the live stream and explain what the hell I did. And I tried to blame it on the kids, but that didn't work. It didn't work because they weren't home. So, but I tried hard. And then we had to buy $1,000 stove because I burned water. And my chat will never let me live it down. Murder the like button on True Crime Thursday. Yes. Does my brother-in-law still love you?
Oh.
I know, we were worried about divorce there for a minute. In fact, I had Nick Rekieta, Steve was on that show. I had Nick Rekieta send me a toast to ward off any coming divorce that morning. And so it must have worked because we are not seeking divorce counsel.
It's just a thing. It's just an object. Come on.
No, he's fine. But he was not happy that day. But I mean,
well, okay. Yeah, fair enough. It's a wallet punch.
It was a huge wallet punch. It wiped out our savings in one day. And it was like, oh. But Stephanie, you remember the last time you were here? Remember I backed my car into your car and did $3,000 worth of damage in one day? When I make mistakes, they are big. I go big or go home. And every time I make one of these dumb mistakes, it costs thousands of dollars. So it's kind of a miracle that your brother-in-law still loves me. Yeah, kind of a miracle because I cost him a lot of money, a lot. And I'm just not even going to try and deny it because that's the case. It just is. Let's see. What else? What's the next thing on here? It is evidence of the person in possession of the device on or about any times that the items of evidentiary value located pursuant to this warrant were created, modified, accessed, or otherwise manipulated. Such evidence may be found in digital communications, photos and video, associated metadata, IP logs, documents, social media activity, and similar data. Also, passwords, phrases, codes, patterns, fingerprints, and or usernames to operate any such device. All right, and then other items including mail, receipts, identification, bills, rental agreements, licensing documents, and other personal property whose owner or possessor may be readily determined. Blah,
blah, blah, blah, blah.
Blah,
yeah,
blah,
the rest
blah.
of this is all blah, blah, blah.
Okay, now it goes over what they're going to search his office. Was it his office? Probable cause. Yep, this is probable cause. Second story of the building. The investigation. I think this is the repeat of the probable cause.
Yeah.
This is the search. Okay, whatever. This is.
Yeah, same one.
Same thing.
It's a copy. Okay. It's a different location.
It's a copy, and they're going to search his office at school too for the same stuff. So we don't need to read that. Now this is a copy of the arrest affidavit that we already read. So I'm going to skip over this, and I think go to page 35 because
we want to see the return.
Yeah, we're going to page 35, and this is kind of interesting because we have not read this part before.
The amount of damage that these cops can do to your house, and they don't find anything. It's like, oh well.
Yeah, they can like tear up your couch, and rip it open and stuff.
It sucks.
To look for, yeah, it does.
Really,
and then,
there should be some compensation, but there's just not.
No. So I found this part interesting because the King Road residence contained a significant amount of blood from the victims, including spatter and cast-off bloodstain pattern resulting from blood drops released from an object due to its motion, which, based on my training, makes it likely that this evidence was transferred to Kohberger's person, clothing, or shoes. Based on the locations of the suspect's vehicle and the 8458 phone immediately following the murders, it's probable Kohberger went home to his residence. At that time, it's likely he still had blood or other trace evidence on his person, clothes, shoes, including skin cells or hair from the victims or from Gonsalves's dog, Murphy. I hadn't even thought about the dog, but yes, he could have had dog hair on him that they could connect to the dog at the house. And that's an interesting thing I hadn't thought of. It's likely that some trace evidence was transferred to areas of his apartment through contact with the items worn during the attack. And so they're just talking about why they want to check out his residence and his office. To date, we have not recovered the weapon used in the homicides, which would indicate that he took it with him from the scene, and he believes that weapon would have trace evidence on it as well. Based on my training and experience, when someone plans an event or action, one likely location for doing so is in their residence or office. One would not want to conduct such planning in public if they were planning a criminal act, and so it's more likely that the planning of, unless you go to the Orland Park Public Library, because there it's public, but they're going to erase everything after you do it. So I would go there.
See there, you're plotting the death. Does your husband know about this? Yeah, no, this is all basically just verbiage to support the search. So what they're trying to do is establish probable cause in a sworn affidavit that gives them a basis that, if believed, will allow them to conduct the search. It's a check on police search power. That's what a warrant is supposed to be. Is they're supposed to have a reasonable enunciation of the crime that occurred, the evidence that is connected to that you can locate at a particular place and time, and some nexus between the crime and that evidence, right? So it's really a three-part test. And this is what a judge is supposed to be double checking. So when they sign off on this, they're supposed to check those three things, right? That it's limited in scope enough that you have PC, a probable cause, you have a limitation in scope. It's directed to items that are reasonable to presume would be located, that would be of some evidentiary value, and that there's a nexus between the crime and that search to prevent some kind of blanket warrant. For instance, the FBI did at the Trump Mar-a-Lago mansion. That is an example of a fishing expedition. They have no idea what they're looking for. They're just going and collecting everything, including Melania's panties.
Yeah,
right?
And some designer dresses. Yeah.
So they're just looking for anything and going in and just doing a generalized search. The point of a warrant is to be specific like this. See, this is a good warrant. This is the way it should be done. I mean, you gotta say Idaho has been
They have been great.
pretty good, you know.
I've gone on record saying that I think this case will be studied in the future in criminology classes, probably, for being an example of how police got it exactly right. And how they did things exactly right. We'll see. But I still think they did. I do. So far, we have not seen any major screw ups. The only screw up that I noticed that bothered me, that really wasn't that big a deal, was that their public relations person was kind of confusing people.
Well, it's I'm for the Idaho insect, by the way. I gotta say,
Idaho insect.
Yes, because Moscow sounds like you're talking about Russia.
Well, that's true. The Idaho insect might be better.
Yeah.
Although they want to call him the Idaho incel, but I'm not sure he was.
We don't know that he is.
I think he might just be a psychopath. Or I don't know. Maybe he didn't do it, I guess.
assuming that they got the right person. Here's what people don't understand. It's hard for me to understand, and maybe it's because people say I'm so innocent. I'm not innocent. I've seen so much of this stuff. But I will say that there's a certain place that I can intellectually understand, but I don't understand it sort of as a human being.
Me either.
And I call it like dropping off the edge of the cliff. So it's like I can verbalize it, but I don't understand it, right? It doesn't make sense to me because you look inward for your own emotions to reflect and say, okay, I can see how somebody get angry and they'd pull a knife out and they strike out in anger. But when somebody, like, for example, somebody who is a serial killer who enjoys murder, let's assume everything about him is normal, except for the fact that he has this innate desire to murder, that he wants to see somebody die, and he enjoys the power. He gets off on that.
Well, that's BTK, man. And I'll tell you what, reading his words in his book, I'm reading that book right now. He talks about his victims like desserts, like tasty desserts. And it's so sick. And I'm trying to wrap my head around, how does a person become like this? And it's totally incomprehensible to me, Steve. I can't comprehend it.
But that's called going off the cliff. And I deal with this a lot in my practice because I can explain it to you and you can explain it to me, right? Okay, you understand intellectually that somebody could be turned on by this, or somebody could be, that's their appeal and that's what they're doing. It makes sense if that's true, right? But you can't relate to it in any human way. It's so weird. It's kind of like pedophiles. I deal with that with pedophiles a lot.
Yeah.
you read the arrest affidavit and you're like, oh, you read it and you're visualizing the Playboy bunny, and then you see the picture and you're like, oh my God, how can somebody? But it's because somebody's sexually attracted to children,
Oh,
and it's like,
God.
okay, I recognize that is what's going on in their head, but it doesn't connect. It's like going off the cliff. If you read some of these affidavits and you don't see the pictures, you're like, okay, I understand as a man you're sexually attracted, but then you see like the age and the
Oh,
level,
God.
and it's bizarre. It's like this. It's like looking over a cliff into darkness that you just can't understand. Now, intellectually, I understand it. This guy is sexually attracted to
Right.
children, right?
But you just can't understand it on the human level. It's just impossible. Mimi, she says, if Megan is ever suspected of murder, first place police are going is the library, and they won't find a damn thing because they wipe the servers every night, and they don't know which one you were logged on to. Could have been one of any. I'm telling you, that's the only way to commit look up any crimes.
Except the homeless guy that's camping out in the library witnesses you typing these searches over your shoulder without you, and then testifies for the state. I saw her searching for all this stuff.
Possible. Okay, let's get through it. We're gonna get to what they found because
I want to know
coming.
what they found. This is the good
I know
part.
they're just talking about what they're looking for, and we don't have to. It's all about the digital media again. So there's there is probable cause to believe that the evidence of the above listed crimes. What? Are you good? Are you good?
I'm good now.
Okay.
Yeah, I blacked out for a second.
Uh-oh. Don't black out. That's not good. Drink some water. All right. So they're looking for specific accounts. They're looking for internet searches. They're looking for photographs, information, etc. All right. These are the things that they found.
Okay. Let's see. Back up.
No, that was what they were looking for. Here's what they found.
I want to see what they found. This is the good stuff here.
Wait, we didn't get to it yet. Here it is. All right.
All right.
1 nitrite type black glove. Okay. I've got like a box of those, but
there's always one sock that doesn't match, right? I mean, they'd find that all over.
Right.
I've got a drawer of socks that don't match that I'm hoping one day they will.
I have an entire basket full of them, and like I keep throwing them out and they keep coming back. 1 Walmart receipt with 1 Dickies tag. What's a Dickies tag? Could that be the knife, the receipt for the knife?
No. Well, Walmart, a Dickies, isn't Dickies like a work suit type thing?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. What's Dickies? Who knows?
Walmart could be a tag. I don't know. And what's on the receipt? 2 Marshalls? What are we talking about?
I know there's 2 receipts, so I'm assuming that there was something he bought that
Dickies
that got their attention.
Pants. It's like work clothes, I think. Yeah.
Dickies. What's Dickies? I'm gonna look it up. Dickies.
It's like a clothing, work clothes.
Oh, they're pants. They're cargo pants.
But see, here's a question. Like, so what if, for example, if he planned this murder and he's a planner, right? And he buys Dickies pants for work clothes that are durable and strong, right? And nowhere in any of and he buys it like the day before, and nowhere is in his closet or anywhere else is a Dickies pants. So what that would mean is so there's an absence of evidence there. He wore Dickies pants and then threw the pants out.
Well, why would you buy this specific type of pants?
This is not the real. That's not the word. Dickies has a worker.
These are like khakis.
I know, but there's other ones.
All right, here's some that are like, no, those are skateboarding pants, flex pants, cargo pants,
performance workwear. See, Dickies is generally known as being like a workwear, murder clothes. Exactly.
Murder clothes. All right.
Look at that. Doesn't that look like Jason? Like you don't see his face. Maybe that's him posing.
$109. It's a lot of money for some murder pants.
Well, because see, they're heavy duty and they're good for, it's like a little bit of armor. And
there's pockets and lots of zippers and places to hide stuff. And yeah, I could see it. All right, Stephanie, she's like, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. What else is there? All right, I'm going back.
Yeah, go back. And we're all interested. This is what we're here for.
Going back. Hold on. All right. 2 Marshall's receipts.
No idea what that is.
Dust container from Bissell Power Force vacuum. That was a good one to take because if he vacuumed up anything, there could be hairs in there. There could be, who knows? 8 possible hair strands. 1 Fire TV stick with cord and plug. I don't know what they would need on that. Isn't that just
Well,
something that has apps on it?
yeah, you can search. I think you can search with that. So it's like you could search with your Fire TV, a
Okay.
Google type search, right?
One possible animal hair strand, one possible hair, one possible hair. So they have 8 possible hairs, and then they listed other possible hairs separately.
Hair versus hair strand.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean. One computer tower, one collection of dark red spot collected without testing. What is a collection of dark red spot?
Well, blood. That's what why don't they say suspect blood is what it really is.
They suspect blood, but they describe it as dark red spot, which
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
That's
How do you collect a dark red spot? What was it on?
Might be carpet, it might be on clothing, it might be on fabric, it might be on anything.
2 cuttings from uncased pillow of reddish brown stain. Larger stain tested. 2 top and bottom of mattress cover package separately, both labeled C, multiple stains, 1 tested. But they don't tell us what the testing results were, and that's it. That's all they got from his house.
Well, okay, the
Is
computer.
that concerning?
Well, concerning. Okay, so what could this be? Well, we've got potential clothing items, right? What did he purchase at Marshall's and Walmart?
Uh-huh.
What did he vacuum up? Where did this, if any of these hairs come back to the dog or any of the victims, that would be good, right? The Fire Stick TV, the computer tower, what was in the searches? What was in that? The dark red spot, again, blood could be blood. The rest of the items are all possible blood tags. So we're looking at serology evidence. We're looking at receipt, purchase evidence and search in computer searching evidence. Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, we don't know what's on. I guess I'm looking forward to finding out what's on the receipts.
They're being very, see, this is typical of a return receipt too, because they don't want to tell you anything, do they?
Right. No, but I mean, it's interesting nonetheless. I mean, the blood spots or the suspected blood spots are very interesting. If they find, because he didn't appear to be injured, so if they find blood, it's probably from one of those victims. I have a very hard time believing, Steve, that he did 4 murders with a knife and got no blood all over him. Like, that couldn't have happened.
No, there's going to be blood. The question is, how good of his cleaning did he do? And it's going to be, I think if they're going to find it, I think it's probably going to be in the car.
Oh, I would imagine. I'm looking. Somebody said Dickies might sell gloves. I'm looking.
No, men's coveralls. Look up men's overalls.
Oh, good call.
Because that's kind of like Jason,
Oh yeah, they do have bib overalls.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
I think I have some of. I think I have some of these. I do. I have this. I have these in black. All right, hold on. I'll show you. I have these, except it's not Dickies brand, but I have. This is what I go feed my chickens in the winter.
It does look very, Actually, you ever see Buckethead?
What is Buckethead? No.
What is Buckethead? What is Buckethead?
I don't know what Buckethead is. Why would I know this?
You look up Dickies. You should look up Buckethead.
It's Buckethead. My Google search is never going to be the same.
I know.
Buckethead. Buckethead.
There he is.
What the heck?
Go look at this. Look up pictures. There he is.
What is this?
It's Buckethead. Here, look at the. See, he always wears these like killer things. See, look at that picture right there. He's got the
mask.
Yellow. Yeah. That's kind of like his
coveralls.
Coveralls.
Is this some kind of heavy metal weirdo that you like?
Look, there he is. Buckethead. What do you mean? He's great. Buckethead is one of the greatest guitar players of all time. You ever heard of Guns N' Roses?
Yes.
Okay. Well, remember when Slash left Guns N' Roses? Who do you think replaced Slash?
Buckethead?
Buckethead.
So funny. Stephanie wants to know, Steve, talk about the FISA warrants. Why isn't some lying lawyer in jail for lying on those to get permission to spy on the president? Why do you think, Stephanie? You really need someone to answer this question for you? You know the answer to it. The answer is nobody's ever going to go to jail for any of that.
Yeah, I mean, we have just lost our morality.
And no, they didn't return the warrant yet for the car. Not that I've seen. I haven't seen
That's tomorrow's show.
Yeah, I hope not, because I'm trying to go on vacation and I didn't think I was going to be back online until like a week from now. And then this all happened. We had the arrest of Brian Walsh and the arrest or the warrant return came back. And so for Brian Kohberger, and I was just like, dang it. I gotta get on and cover this because yeah, nuts. Okay, I wanted to show you guys something that I didn't get to cover on the show today.
Buckethead?
No, it's not about Buckethead.
I had my Halloween costume. I was Buckethead. I wore a Buckethead costume for Halloween, and the kids scared them the hell out of me. I wore the whole thing. I even had a machete, and I had the big bucket and the hair and the mask, and the kids were like, "Oh my god!" But Buckethead's he actually loves children. He's really here to help us.
So you say.
Yeah.
There is okay. So I wrote this article on PJ Media today. Let me get that up on the screen because this is pretty interesting and it is related to this case. It's related to the Kohberger case. You guys remember last week I went over the social media posts that were found by a true crime podcast, which I believed was what are they called? Hidden True Crime. And today they posted a new video where they said that the New York Times appeared to be ripping off their work and not giving them a citation. So I decided to look into it. And I called the reporter at the New York Times, who happened to be the same reporter that I was ragging on just a week ago, because he was one of the reporters who did the story about the Kohberger's classmate who said he said anti-LGBT stuff. Remember that, Steve? Do you remember that story? I thought I sent it to you. There was one of his classmates. Her name was B.K. Norton, and she accused Kohberger she said the students didn't like him because he made anti-LGBTQ statements. Well, none of the reporters actually wrote what the statements were. And so I reached out to her and I asked her what were the statements. And she said, I'm not comfortable telling you. The other reporters asked me that too. Yeah. They asked me that too, but I'm uncomfortable. So I'm reached out.
Uncomfortable here.
I reached out. Exactly. I reached out to the reporters who wrote the story and I asked each of them, why would you print this if the source wasn't comfortable telling you what the allegation was she was making? I felt like that was a bad job. And it just happened to be the same reporter who now is being accused by these true crime reporters of taking their story. However, I did get a hold of him and he was very nice on the phone. And I think what happened here is, it's happened to me before. I think what happened is everybody started looking into these posts around January 7th. They found it may have appeared first on 4chan. And if that's the case, then if HTC picked it up from 4chan, anybody could have picked it up from 4chan right around that same time. I've had it happen to me where I've actually been working on a story at the same time somebody else was. But they published it first, and I got, screwed out of the story because I thought I had an exclusive, but I didn't. Well, anyway, Dr. John Mathias and his wife, Lauren Mathias, who was a journalist, they said they had a team member who put together Brian Kohberger's email address with these posts from several years ago when he was a teenager, talking about how he has visual snow and also problems with what sounds like mental health. He was talking about depersonalization and unbelievable stuff, saying he has no feelings. He doesn't. Did you hear about this, Steve? Did you know about these posts?
No.
Oh. Well, they said some crazy stuff. Well, they are his. And HTC said they verified it by using the email address that was leaked by some organization that was definitely his email. It was tied to his address in Pennsylvania that was on this social media. He talked about where he lives in Pennsylvania. And there was a post about his birthday on his birthday, his actual verified birthday. So pretty good verification. Anyway, this was that. So they put that out on the 7th of January. That's when I watched it. I watched it live. And by the 10th, Ashley Banfield had them on to talk about it. I'll play a little bit of that for you guys so you can catch up if you missed it.
Is the killer. Why? Why did he do it? Right now, it appears there is only one person in the world who knows the answer, and Kohberger ain't talking. But there might be a way for the rest of us to retrace the steps that led him into that cold Moscow jail cell. A series of posts that were found online, some of them really disturbing, just might have been written by Kohberger when he was a teenager. Here's an example from 2011 when he was 16. It reads, "I see a large intensity of black, yellow, white fuzz. It makes my mind fizzle, and I can barely keep in the bounds of reality. It is as if the ringing in my ears and the fuzz in my vision is simply all of the demons in my head mocking me." Dozens and dozens of posts like this were written on a site called Tapatalk, in a forum for people who believed that they were suffering from a condition called visual snow syndrome. News Nation has not been able to independently verify that these are Kohberger's early posts, but there are strong indications that they are.
That one right there said, look at the mental fog, lack of comprehension, no emotion, poor social skills, delusions of grandeur, crazy thoughts, constant thoughts of suicide, depression. I feel like nothing has a point. When I get home, I'm mean to my family. This started when Visual Snow did. I felt no emotion, and along with the depersonalization, I can say and do whatever I want with little remorse.
And I'm joined now by the two people who found them. Lauren Mathias is a reporter who's been following this case very closely, and John Mathias, her husband, is a clinical and forensic psychologist who's done a deep dive into what the posts might mean. Together, they host the Hidden True Crime podcast. And welcome to both of you. Lauren, how did you make this discovery, and how did you link it to Brian Kohberger?
Yeah, it was the Hidden True Crime team that did this together, and there was a verified email address that we used that uncovered these writings from 2011. The post, the photo looks to be a side-by-side of Brian. The username is an email that he used, as well as his rapper name. He did some raps online, and he confirms his own birthday and a relative's address, as well as living in Pennsylvania. So things do seem to add up, as well as the hundreds of pages that we have poured over reading. Everything matches up to look like this is Brian Kohberger writing as a 16-year-old boy.
And there's like an array of writings. You say hundreds and hundreds.
All right. So they go through, we went through it the other night, so we won't play the entire thing. But I just wanted to show you that. So that was on the 10th of January. Then on January 13th, the New York Times reporter, whose name was Nicholas Bogle-Burrows, he published an article about the posts without linking Hidden True Crime's work or mentioning them. Many other outlets picked up the story from the Times and credited the Times for breaking it. Now, that's when I reached out to him, and he said on the phone to me that he had never seen their report and that he had found the posts independently through other sources online. Like it could have been, he couldn't remember though where he found it. I asked him where he found it. He couldn't remember specifically. He thought possibly 4chan or Reddit. He just said it was all over the place and people had been sharing them and they were not sure if they were Brian's. They hadn't been verified and he thought he would try and verify them. And so it looks like he took this kind of the same steps to verify that the podcast group took, although he went a little bit further, and he's got some text messages that he published in his reporting. Let me go over there real quick. He's got some text messages that describe Kohberger having visual snow. So he had texted, they got texts from friends who knew him, and the texts were complaining about this visual snow. And so the New York Times believed that they could then verify that these things were it. Well, then what happens is, so now this podcast is all upset with the New York Times because it looks like they kind of took their story, right? And it really wasn't quite the New York Times' fault because it was CNN that picked up this story and gave all the credit to this reporter, saying that he had, done all of this. And I guess, and I think I went in my reporting, I basically said, there's a couple ways to look at this. And one of the problems is, and it's kind of like what our problem is with institutions in America, is that everything's been so weaponized and the media has been so weaponized against regular people and especially independent journalists and independent creators that when something like this happens, no one wants to say, well, maybe it wasn't intentional. Everyone just believes, well, they just hate independent journalism, right? It's
Yeah,
kind of
no,
the same thing.
and the thing is there is this sort of it's amazing, the internet's amazing thing, and what we're doing right here with in collaboration with the chats. Like, we're sitting here discussing, we're thinking through things, and then all of a sudden we're like, well, what about that? And then somebody will say, and then the chat comes up with the movie reference, and then somebody links in. I mean, the research that's done, it's almost like a distributed information gathering mechanism. So if you get like 4chan or one of these channels and they get into it and they sort of start putting things together, pieces of the puzzle together as a group and assembling them in a common area, it's an incredible information gathering tool. So like, I was the guy that discovered this, right? Well, I don't know, sometimes there's a
It's a
group
group. Yes. Okay. So that's
conglomeration.
exactly it. So Leah Geo, who by the way is here producing the show right now, shout out to her because she produced my 3-hour show earlier. She's been up since 2 a.m. in Australia. She just mentioned to me in the private chat that she saw it first on 4chan. If that's the case, that this was first published on 4chan, is it possible? Did HTC just grab it from there and then pretend that they had done
Right.
this
See,
work?
that's what I'm thinking. Like, I know, for example, on my ideas and answers in law book,
Uh-huh.
I know what parts of this I creative. I know where my creative leaps are and when I thought about it, how I deduced it, how I came up with it, right? So I know the parts in this that I'm relying on others and where I'm making those leaps. But on the other hand, we have this mechanism of research that is better than a good example I'll say is remember the Powerline, Scott Johnson and John Hilderocker of Powerline, when they did the Dan Rather fake document, remember
Yes,
the Bush
that was
thing?
Glenn Reynolds who beat them at PJ Media, by the way. That was PJ Media was born in that story.
Right.
We remember when Dan Rather said he called us a bunch of
Pajamas, yeah,
bloggers
pajamas
in our
headed for thing.
pajamas. Well, that's where PJ Media comes from. PJ stands for pajamas.
Right.
F you, Dan Rather. We
Well,
did catch you in our pajamas.
but this is exactly what we were doing. You have this institutional stuffed shirt
Yep.
in Dan Rather.
Yep.
I'm Tom Brokaw reporting, and I know everything. He's just a voice reading a script that looks pretty on camera, right? Now, we may not look pretty on camera, or at least I don't. You do, but
Aw,
but the
sweet.
one thing is that we have this resource of the people that go out and find this stuff. Like when people that Dan Rather story. Okay, here's the documents, folks, and then everybody goes and recreates it and does this research, verifies, and it all gets assembled back. And the blowback from the mass, the thinking of the distributed thinking is so much greater than some stupid stuff shirt Dan Rather opining that this is a story and I believe it and you should believe me because I'm Dan Rather. Well, screw him. The internet is better than him, and that's a threat to institutions. And so it may be, I'm just speculating. I don't know who the source of the story is. Obviously, that's a good question, but I'm
It's an
suspect
interesting
because
question.
this kind of research, this kind of deep dive, 2011. I mean, you're talking about internet wayback machine. You're talking about connecting an email to a particular
And
identity
that really
verifying.
does sound like something that 4chan would be doing.
Right.
And look at this. So then there's a twist that happened after I published the story. And the story ended with what I said in the story at the end was, I reached out to Hidden True Crime, but I didn't hear back from them in time for publishing. The Nicholas Bogle, he told them through my article, this is my cell phone. They should reach out. I haven't heard from them at all. They said they tried to contact the Times through email and phone, but they didn't call the reporter directly. And his number is in his profile. That's how I got a hold of him. It's literally right there on his Twitter profile. He was very nice, very, very, just he was very willing to explain things, which most reporters are not. And I think the way he looked at it was we were verifying it. We were verifying it. And to me, it didn't seem like he was trying to take credit for like, oh, I'm breaking the story. We're just trying to verify it. But CNN goes and writes the story about how, oh, the New York Times broke this exclusive information that was already out there. It was already circling, right? And we don't know where it came from. Well, after I concluded saying this. One thing is true. It's very frustrating for independent creators and journalists when they break a story and it doesn't get wide viewership until big media picks it up. CNN reported the story as Bogle-Burrow's exclusive find. It is also possible that two journalists were working on the same story at the same time and both believed that they had discovered it. I know it's happened to me, but when it's discovered that your story came days after another journalist's work on the same story, a correction and citation should be added. Bogle-Burrows did not answer whether a citation would be added to the Times article and instead ended the call. But politely, he said, and I quoted him. He said, I asked him about the anti-LGBTQ statements lady and if he interviewed her personally, and he said, I did not interview her, and I'm going to have to go. I appreciate the call. Now, that's 2 out of 3 New York Times reporters who worked on that story, by the way, who claim they didn't speak to the subject of their article. So that's still an open question that I have.
Well, see, the legacy media needs to die. This is the moral of the story, because why they get credit for anything, I have no clue. Who are they? I mean, I'm just so unimpressed by the and basically it's topic. Like if they don't report it, it doesn't exist. And then all of a sudden they pick it up like, oh, the Hunter Biden laptop story. All of a sudden, oh, it's like, you know what? We just verified it. Well, the PJ Media folks verified it 2 years ago.
Yep.
You know, it's like, where have you been? Oh, but now that they report it, now we can all admit it because now we're being manipulated. You know, they all need to just die. They do not need to be determining what the topics of reporting is. It needs to be distributed. It needs to be double checked. It needs to be subjected to the fact checkers that the internet provides. You know, the people in these chats are smart people and they have the ability, they all bring their different skill sets together, and the groupthink is better than some institution. And I've told you this before, when I see your name, I know who you are. I know what you're about. I know what your values. I know what kind of work you do. And so when you're talking to me, I know you wrote it and you've looked into it. So it's a credible source to me. If CNN's reporting it, who the hell is CNN? Who the hell is ABC? Who's CBS? Who are any of these lettered institutions that think that they have some sort of sway? Who is the New York Times? Now, you've said
people give them all the credibility, and that's where the credibility comes from. The credibility comes from what you give them and that you read them at all. And that's the kind of the thing. It's like, even me, Steve, I still wait for some of these big sources to confirm some things, depending on what I'm doing. If I can't independently verify it myself. And in some ways, especially local media, they have a lot more resources than I do, right? They have staff, they have researchers, they have access to databases, they have access to law enforcement that I don't have. So in some ways, local media and media, big media, is really needed, right?
But they've completely
squandered, destroyed our trust.
And we need a free media, but the free media exists in the people like yourself, people like PJ Media, people like Powerline, people like Instapundit, you know, people like Legal Insurrection, right? People like who's the fellow that does the 60 Minutes type reporting? Breitbart follower guy that's so good. See, let me ask the chat.
Wait, who is that?
You know, Project Veritas.
James O'Keefe. Yeah, we were just talking about him today.
You know, these are real people doing real reporting. What they're doing in the media is propaganda. They're promoting propaganda points. What is the story of the day that they want us? And I am just, the thing is, I should do a Rumble when I get my computer back and I can actually post again. I'm going to do something, but you know, having people being selective about what they take in their mind, because there's all kinds of this mass stuff that's crowding the career. There's millions of choices. So how do you choose what to listen to? You choose what to listen to by knowing the person who's talking to you. I know you. I know Steve Hayward, right? I know who Glenn Reynolds is. I know who these people are when they're talking. I know who they are. The institutions, if I don't know who they are, I don't want to listen to them because I don't know what their agenda is, and it's a big corporation, and I don't trust them.
I will say that Nick, the guy at the New York Times who I talked to, was very, very nice guy, like very different than most of the reporters that I contact when I want to write about their stories. He was very open and very I don't know. I just found him pretty believable.
And I will say that
people buried in there. Yeah.
And
So,
this is the kind of story, though, that is not as subject
but
quite as subject.
listen to the twist though. Wait till we get to here's the twist that I just found out after I published this, and I'm probably gonna have to make an update
Uh-oh.
because this is pretty significant. This is pretty significant.
Breaking news? This is
Uh,
breaking news?
yeah, this is breaking news that nobody has heard before, and it may get Nicholas off the hook. Because on so HTC's video was published, their live stream on January 8th. I misspoke. I said the 7th, but I looked at the forensics on a website. You can put a YouTube link in. It'll tell you exactly when it was published. It was published on January 8th at 4:30 GMT. Is that Mountain Time? MT? Mountain Time?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. All right. That was at 4:30. Wait, which one was it? No, I'm sorry, not 4:30. 6 p.m. GMT time. Okay, 6 p.m. But there was another video. The first video that actually reported this was this video right here. It was Nerdy Addict with 7,000 subscribers. He has a lot less than HTC. And he actually posted his video at 4:30 GMT, same day, before several hours before HTC. So now we have a third possibility. HTC may not be able to say that they broke this anymore.
Well, and the 4chan stuff, and I don't know anything about
Here
this.
it is. This is the video from Nerdy Addict. So, it's Greenwich Mean Time, England. Well, whatever. This one was published a couple hours before.
But my question is, but can you go back and look at the 4chan stuff and see if the 4chan stuff predated either one of these? Because they may be all relying on the group
They
thing.
probably were. Let's be completely honest. This was probably a 4chan break, which many stories are. I mean, many stories.
It's kind of like Al Gore inventing the internet, right?
Yeah. I mean, when I get a story from 4chan, though, I usually will link to, if I'll say it appeared on 4chan. And I do think it's pretty dishonest if you're taking, of course, I haven't watched this video, so I don't know. And I don't know how long it is either. Let's look. It's like an hour long. I've not watched this to see what is he claiming where he found it. Maybe he would tell us where he found it. I don't know. I'll drop the link.
You should drop him an email and find out.
Maybe I should. Yeah.
That's a little pajama meeting reporting right
I'm
there.
literally in my pajamas right now. M. Cray H, thanks for the super chat, says, "Hi, Megan. I'm really liking your channel. Keep up the good work." Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Yeah. So it's interesting. To me, I'm interested in, how journalism works and how journalists, do their investigating and do their work. And one of the things that really bothers us as journalists is being accused of doing something wrong, right? Of taking someone's work. And because there are people who do that. So I think we should be careful that T from Laos says, "Well, I learned today that Megan Fox can burn water." I am amazing. I am like no one you've ever met.
Many skills.
I am like no one you've ever met. So I think I am going to reach out to Nerdy Addict because
find out how he found out.
How did he find it?
Yeah.
How did he find it?
This good little report. Ooh, I'm like a real reporter. I'm in on the reporting.
I know. Like, do you see how I get down these rabbit holes though? And like,
right.
I think something happened, and then I talk to the New York Times guy, and it's like, oh, maybe that didn't happen, and like, maybe
and I have an
and now it's like, oh crap.
My antenna are going off, and I'm like, this does not sound like somebody that would come up with this. And then the fact that they're so defensive, I don't know. I'm very suspicious. I'm suspicious of everything. But hey, Fiery is in the chat, and does she have a podcast? Fiery Red podcast?
I don't know. I don't know.
She says she has a podcast. I want you to buy the book, but you don't need to cite me. I want the ideas to be promulgated. The reason I wrote it is so that you can get out there and learn and enjoy and become a better person. That's why I write. So thank you. But Fiery's awful nice, and she ordered the book, and she's awful kind to me. So
Leah, thank you so much for your help tonight too in the chat, and for doing all you do for the show. I sure appreciate it. And Leah is saying that she she saw it. She's pretty sure she saw it on 4chan, but it wasn't verified at the time. I wish we could find that. We need to run that down, Leah. If we can find that, check your browser history, because if you go in and you know you were on 4chan, go in and type 4chan, see what comes up, see if you can grab that link, because I want to see when it was posted. You don't have to do it right now, but I mean for later, because I'm going to get going here soon. Because I'm tired. We did 3 hours
Yeah.
earlier, and now we're working on hour 2
Yeah,
here.
I worked all day today. I'm trying to catch up at work because my computer's down at home, so I can't play. I'm not writing my
I
book. I'm not
know, I
posting.
know.
This is my wife's computer, so
I know, I'm sorry. I didn't know you had such a terrible problem with your computer and all
uh,
that. Listen, you
I'm
guys,
just praying that my book isn't destroyed.
and me
I
too.
had
Did you
about
not have a backup on
I
a
didn't.
Oh, Steve, you
It's
need
so
to have
I'm
a
so stupid.
external hard drive, Steve.
I
External
have it
backup.
now. I have it sitting out there ready
It's
for
not
my
gonna
computer.
do any good right now. I'm so sorry.
But we'll see. We'll see.
All right. All right. Well, hopefully it will go better than your gun cleaning kit or whatever it was that you couldn't find where your knife was.
Yeah, fiery red evidently is a male, but I kind of like the idea of a female fiery red podcast. Doesn't that sound like that? My image in my head
That's
is
it,
more.
Fiery Red. You have to transition.
You
Steve
have to.
says,
Maybe I identify you as. See, this is the thing. Why is it my personal whims of what we label ourselves? Why can't I label everybody else too? See,
you could.
I identify you as male, right?
I identify you however I want
Yeah,
to.
that's right. So now we're back to square one, which is where we should be anyway.
Yes, and those of you out there in the chat, if you haven't been in the show before, I'm going to give my pitch to you right now for my locals channel. Because if you like this show, you'll like my locals channel too. meganfox.locals.com. Follow me there for free. And there's lots of free content, but the paid content is so worth it. You get to watch me set fire to my kitchen, because I do tons of cooking streams. We did one today. I showed you how I made my delicious creamy Italian chicken pasta dish. I do post-show streams. I do chicken streams when I take you out to the chicken coop and we feed the chickens together. There's all kinds of stuff on locals, meganfox.locals.com, including movie nights with Meg. And tomorrow, I am still working out the details of what time, because I just had an issue with my co-host for tomorrow. The law enforcement officer retired from the LA Sheriff's Homicide Department, Joe Raffa, is going to be with me. We are going to watch exclusively on locals tomorrow at some point. I'm going to put up the notice on my locals probably tonight. We're going to watch episode 6 of Hulu's documentary called City of Angels, City of Death. And Joe was there. He was there. He's actually in the documentary in pictures. You can see, we can find Joe. It's like, where's Waldo? We can find him while we're watching. And he was there. And there were some really scary serial killers that they were hunting at the time, including the freeway killer, the toolbox killers, the Night Stalker. I mean, this was the heyday of serial killers in America, was LA in the 70s. And we've got Joe, who was there, and she knows. I mean, he knows. I just misgendered Joe. I can't believe I did that.
No, but see, the new thing, and this is my first creative idea, is that we need to have the freedom to gender others.
To gender others.
Because if I'm free, who's to control? Right? I mean, I can gender people however I want.
It's true. It's true.
And I want to know, like, about my wife's from the Philippines.
Yeah.
They don't have sex-based pronouns. You know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, and
How do
my
they
wife,
differentiate?
they don't. They don't. My wife and my
Is that
wife.
like calling everybody it?
No, well, yeah, kind of like that. My wife, to this day, I call it, it's pronoun confusion. I mean, she always says, like, well, I was, he was talking, and she's talking about a she. I mean, like, I'm like, who was talking? She, he was talking. Oh, Megan was talking. Megan Fox. Oh yeah. I said, well, you said he. Oh no, it's she, because she can't get the he she thing right, because in Tagalog.
Pretty soon that's going to be how our kids are, because they're just so confused about who's who and what's what. All right, you guys. So I'm going to Steve, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you doing this and taking time out of your day to come in a last minute and do this for me. I mean, you are the best. You really are. And thanks to Leah Gio in the production studio. She's amazing. I love her. Thank you for all your hard work today, Leah. And you are amazing. And I hope you get a lot of rest tonight. Please sleep in. I will not be bothering you tomorrow at 2 a.m. You Get some sleep, okay? And to the rest of you, get to meganfox.locals.com and follow me there and turn the notifications on, because then you will know what I am doing when, because tomorrow we're doing movie matinee with Joe, and it's going to be awesome. Digger says, just a quick hello to chat. Megan, Fox, and Steve, I love you guys. We love you too. And again, thank you so much for supporting the show. I wouldn't be able to do it without you. Thanks for always being here when we go live. You guys are amazing. And meanwhile, buy Steve's book. It is, hold it up again. One more grift, Steve, before
One more
we go.
grift. Well, I got to say that, Megan, you're not really the best grifting channel.
I'm terrible.
You're terrible, but I will.
Do you know
put
how
it
much
up there
money? You want to know how much this show made tonight? Should I embarrass myself completely? Let's see. Let's go to the live studio. We'll find out. It's so bad. I'm not trying to insult my viewers right now, because you know what? I get it. We're in a recession, man. Eggs are $8. Like, if you can't send me a super chat, oh well. Life sucks. We're all struggling. Okay. But yeah, we made a good $50 tonight, so it's better than nothing.
I haven't sold. I know,
nothing.
but I do. And you do have an intellectual crowd, and I do think they would appreciate the book. And I would like anybody who is interested, go to crimelaw.net.
$52. Screaming Goater Sheep. We're at $52 now. Thank you, Screaming Goater Sheep.
It's a sheep. Valhalla Awaits knows, because he's a real farmer guy.
I should start chat shaming. I will say, you guys are not nearly as good at the grift as Legal Vice's chat. Legal Vice's chat has people in there who pay him $100 a shot. If you will send me $100 shot, I will guzzle this whiskey right now. Someone wants to send me $100 super chat,
Vice
I will
is
do
the
it.
man. Vice is
How does he do it?
$1,800 on one grift night.
You guys need to.
You know how many books he sold? He sold 54 books in 4 hours for me.
Oh my God. Ricada doesn't get out of bed for less than $6,900, not $69.
Well, like Legos, we build Legos. I spent $100 on my Lego kit with Valhalla. We did Lego building. And I lost all. I mean, I can't do it Friday. But thank you, Valhalla. But I love building Legos, so I went on just for fun. This is all fun, really. I mean, I'll get. There's a time for the grift, but you got to support Megan Fox. And your book is freaking great. I love your book. Your book on the evidence, believe all evidence.
I love that book.
That's a really good book. I think it's.
I felt inspired
it's better.
To write it.
It's more. I can see that, because it's more than just like, I love the way you've structured it, because it's like, okay, here's this mythological set, here's this reality set, and then here's the lessons that we bring, right? So we bring the lessons to all together. Hey, look at you.
Oh no.
All right, we're watching.
I said I would.
Go. Let's see it.
I'm gonna cough hard. Oh my God. Here we go. Ooh.
Ooh, that is classic.
Ooh, if I lit a match right now, it would be burning. And that, by the way, is, wow, that was actually quite good. This is High West Rendezvous Rye, and it's really, really delicious. I highly recommend High West whiskey. Wow, McRae H. You are amazing.
For the win. That is it, right?
That is my first $100 super chat. I want to say, I feel like I need to frame that and put that on the wall. I feel like I'm tearing up. McRae, thank you.
It's the whiskey.
It could be.
She's ready for another one, right? Well, that's actually how I sold 54 books. It's because I made, like, every 5 books I'd take a shot. And people I thought they weren't buying the book for the book. They were buying the book to get me to drink.
Sláinte. Oh,
see, look, you're loaded up. You're ready. You're tuned in.
It's true. Hey, I'll stay here all night. You want to keep it coming? That's no problem.
That was awesome. That was killer. That was a moment right there.
Ellie says, "Oh no, y'all broke her. Now she's gonna drunk cry."
Boy, Vices should be in on this. You should brag to him and say that you got your first. You've been
I'm going
initiated.
to.
You got
We
to
need to
tell him.
clip that. We
Yeah.
need to clip that because I'm going to. That was hilarious.
Wonderful moment. Thank
That
you
was
very much
fantastic.
for that.
What a great note to end on. And now I feel like I really, we did it, Steve. We made it worthwhile. Frame it because you may not remember tomorrow. But I will sleep well. I will sleep like a rock because I do intend to finish
Hey,
this
that's
one.
what a happy thing to go to bed to. Thank you. Isn't that wonderful? Somebody really appreciates you.
After $100 cherry. Yes, thank you. Thank you. It is a wonderful note to go to bed on. Yes. Yes, I agree.
You can go brag to Mr. Fox and say, "Guess what
Yes.
happened?" And you'll get extra love.
I'm going to. I'm going to. All right. What did I load up here? Did I get the ending? I did. Okay, we're all ready to go. All right, but you know what we have to do before we go? Because I didn't make you do it, but I'm going to make you do it now because you don't ever get a live stream with me without doing your squats. Is everyone ready?
Oh.
Do your squats.
You impose fatness on you. You did it by going, oh, I want the butter on the popcorn. Oh, I want the butter on the ice cream. Oh, I want the butter on the sandwich. Oh, I want the butter on the salad. Stop eating butter. Can you just get up, walk 1 mile? Do squat! Walk farther. And if you can't walk, crawl, roll, get dragged by a goddamn forklift. Whatever is wrong with you, just move. Ever. Get off the chair. Get off the couch. No one is coming to service you while you sink into that furniture, while you become one with the pleather your poor ass got on that Walmart couch. Can you try not floating into sadness? Stop eating, stop drinking, start walking, start doing anything that you haven't been doing, you fat piece of shit.
I was so lost, my world is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices. Oh, and my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna say. No, I don't wanna say goodbye. This time I know my road is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices. And my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna say.
Thanks. Thanks for
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So I take it that
Johnny's
you've
problem
seen
is he
Cameron
should
John's
come
bedroom
storming
before.
in there with
Yes.
a string of
Do you
garlic
recall whether
and
you
some
went
holy
into
water.
Mr. Judson
cross,
Westford's
a crucifix
bedroom?
on
May the power of Christ compel you.
No, I don't.
He realized his house was infested with succubuses. And
There's a picture I'll share with you of what it, yes. Do you recall whether it was there
Succuloters.
when you arrived in the afternoon? I don't remember seeing it now. So while shooting,
No
was it
wonder
there?
he said drown her before you
No,
burn
I don't
her.
remember.
oh my god.
You-
Your next witness?
now I know
Witness
why
for
you wanted to
Arnold
drown her.
Glacis,
Your
and that
next
is
witness
also
lives in
by
Romania.
video.
Is that correct?
That evidence of Miss Vasquez.